Thank you for tuning in. Please consider sharing this video if you like the content ahead. Thank you. New article today by the BNN Bloomberg, a Canadian business site, states that Air Canada employee pilots get more political support as strike looms. Who do you think this political support comes from? A very unlikely source, I'd have to tell you. Canada's Conservative Party chief, Pierre Poilievre, says he stands with pilots in a labor dispute with Air Canada, as the carrier prepares to suspend flights ahead of a potential strike. If we remember as well, Pierre also talking about the train strike about 2 to 3 weeks ago was rather in favor of Justin Trudeau's policy to force arbitration. So this right here is seen as in my opinion, a contrasting view to the uh, position he took on the rail strike, which is interesting to say the least. The leader of the opposition, in the article states, the leader of the opposition and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's main rival said he would not support any action that preempted negotiations between the airline and union. I would call on Air Canada to negotiate in good faith with the pilots, he told reporters on Wednesday. We stand with the pilots and their right to fight for a fair deal, good wages. The airline is set to suspend flights starting Sunday if a deal can't be reached with the union representing more than 5,000 pilots. The pilots will be in a position to issue a 72-hour strike notice that day, and the airline plans to begin progressively canceling flights before shutting down completely on September 18th. It's the latest labor headache for Justin Trudeau's Liberal government. Last month, a tribunal agreed to the government's request to order locked-out rail workers back on the job and to undergo binding arbitration, after a one-day stoppage choked supply chains across the country. Now, the situation between of course, the rail workers, in my opinion, between the rail workers and the airline, does have a bit of a difference, considering that, of course, both are very essential to Canadians and affect a lot of people. But the the railway companies, their strike had a significant effect on multiple sectors of the economy, so it made complete sense why forced arbitration and negotiations were needed there. We would have seen a catastrophic effect on our economy as a result if they'd continued their strike. And the other point I want to mention is that Air Canada, yes, it will affect a lot of people flying right now, but it's down season. It's not summer holidays, or it's not the winter holidays. We can expect them not to stay locked out in negotiations or on a strike for long. And yes, it will be a disruption, but it will not be as bad as an effect as if it were the railway companies striking. Now, it says here, another option would be to put forward back to work legislation in the parliament, but the Liberals would need support of one of the main three opposition parties to pass it. We know, and I'm going to just say here, we know that NDPs are not going to give the support, nor we will not see the Conservatives get the support either. So Justin Trudeau will probably have his hands tied here, and he cannot do much in this case. Maybe, if the article says, maybe if the Bloc Québécois would support them, it could help. But in the article they say Wednesday, the Bloc Québécois said it would lean to the workers' side. The fourth place New Democrats is a union-aligned party and recently pulled out of a deal with the Liberals, ending its support for their key votes. Conservative Party is traditionally business-friendly, but Poilievre has positioned himself as a champion for workers. Then it says NDP leader Jagmeet Singh called the move politically motivated. Could be, could not be. That's your opinion, but definitely the optics seem a little odd considering he supported the CP, Canadian Pacific, Kansas City Railway, forced arbitration for those guys in the West with their railway strike. And now he's flip-flopping here and supporting the workers. So, Pierre Poilievre, he does have the mandate to, try to garner the support of the working class as well. That's the big, agenda he's running on, right? But, of course, it does seem a little hypocritical, considering the fact he didn't support the rail workers. Though for obvious reasons, he stated. of course, the economy. It's a bit different situation in that regard. Of course, Jagmeet's going to call him a fraud, but we know Jagmeet Singh's a fraud as well. Dozens of business groups, including the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, sent an open letter to Labour Minister Steve McKinnon, urging him to intervene should the parties not reach a deal. The federal government must act in advance and send them to binding arbitration. The impact of a strike would extend far beyond passenger travel for both urban and rural Canadians. It would significantly disrupt Canada's supply chain. More than 110,000 people travel a day with Air Canada, and a stoppage would halt the airline's cargo operations with commercial goods, perishable items, and components for manufacturers. The union is seeking to close the pay gap between Canadian Airlines and U.S. Airlines, which have significantly increased their pilots, which would significantly increase the pilots' pay. Air Canada pilots are paid less than half of what their industry counterparts get, according to their union. After 9 years of NDP Liberals, U.S. pilots make a lot more money and pay a lot less tax, Poilievre said, leader of the Conservatives. Pilots at Air Canada are simply trying to make up for the ground that they lost as a result of the government-caused inflation. That is the end of the article. I'd like to thank you guys for watching the video today. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed this content. Also, please feel free to leave a comment down below with your opinion and what you think about this strike that could be coming. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.